Hello, hi, and welcome to Upward Bound American Sign Language class. My name is Tiffany Backus, and I will be your teacher for the next 5 weeks. My goal is to encourage you to explore this new language with enthusiasm, to become a competent beginning signer. I hope you're looking forward to these next 5 weeks just as much as I am. If you haven't already, I suggest that you take a look at your syllabus, read through it, and get an idea of how the class will operate. One of the things that you will notice is that this course is a video-based course. You will view a lot of videos, and you will submit some of your assignments via video. In your box of materials, you should have received If you look at this short syllabus on our screen, you'll notice that we will cover ASL Alphabet and school signs during this week. We will get into learning a lot about American Sign Language history and the deaf culture. In week 2, we will embark upon animal signs and family signs. Week 3, we'll learn to introduce ourselves. In week 4, we'll learn food signs, clothes signs, and week 5, we will learn signs for numbers, colors, celestial bodies, which also include nature signs. Let's look at those projects we will cover each week. In week 1, we will put together, you'll be required to do a biography report on a famous person and their hearing condition. In week 2, you will create a family tree using the template that you received in your materials, and you will create a video introducing your family members. In week 3, we will build that paper ear model, which will help us get into learning about sound, hearing loss, and for the most part, how the ear works. In week 4, we will look into what poetry, art, entertainment, drama, movies, things of that nature, what that looks like in the deaf community. We will create our own project that will go into week 5 as we learn to sign to have 2, maybe 3 songs that we can choose from. Let's take a look at that biography report that's due this week. As I mentioned earlier, you're to look up a famous deaf person. Do some research on how they impacted the deaf community. What caused them to become deaf? Use the biography report template, which is also in Canvas, or you can create your own format. Make sure that you include the cause of deafness, the date of birth, and if they're deceased, the date of their death. Include something about their early life, their family life, their achievements, and some fun facts. And make sure you list your resources. In the bottom right corner, you'll see an example of a report that I created on Helen Keller. These are some famous deaf people research links. Use these links to find a deaf person of interest, someone whom you would like to write your report on. You are not restricted to using these links. Feel free to use other resources. I would like you to focus on the last 2 links at the bottom of your screen, famous deaf Americans. Take a look at these videos. They're about 30 minutes long each. You'll find that Robert Panera, the professor of English and drama at the National Technical Institute for the Deaf, shares life stories of deaf Americans. Watch Robert as he tells these stories, for Robert is also a deaf American. Watch him sign as he speaks and even learn some ASL signs. What is American Sign Language? American Sign Language is a very animated and expressive language. It's a visual language that uses hand signs and facial expressions to communicate instead of the mouth or your voice. It has its own grammar with pronouns, adjectives, adverbs, and nouns put together to form its own sentence structure. In our English language, we use syllables, and these syllables are put together in sounds to form words, one-syllable words, two-syllable words, three-syllable words. Well, in ASL, when they fingerspell observing the words in syllables. Let's look at, for example, how we put our sounds together. R-A, rad, S-A, sad, T-A, tad, W-A, wag. Where these are letters put together with that we call blends. For a deaf learner, they would become familiar with seeing the fingerspelled letter combinations instead of the sound. We rely on sound, they rely on visuals. Ra as a sound, RA as a fingerspelled combination. Who uses American Sign Language? Well, at this point, you probably guessed it. It's the deaf, but not just the deaf, but those who are hard of hearing and hearing people. And mainly those hearers are children of deaf adults, or even you and I, who just have an interest in a new language, or family members who may be deaf, and we have an interest in learning how to speak with them, how to communicate, how to build relationships. And of course, it's American Sign Language because it's a language that's spoken in America, just like French is spoken in France, and Japanese in Japan. In other countries, they also have their own sign language. The Japanese have their own sign language. And in France, their sign language is a little different from ours. But you can see its influence because our sign language was built from France. In Canvas, there are links to sign language sites around the world. Browse through those sites and compare the alphabet you will learn today with the alphabet that is learned in other countries. A signing space is required in American Sign Language. It gives the signer a frame to perform, and for the observer, an area to view, as if watching a television. Eyes are fixed upon this space to capture signs, expressions, and gestures of the signer. The signing space in this picture is illustrated by the character on our screen. The rectangular box shows the top of the head to the waist from shoulder to shoulder. The hand space is for finger spelling and is slightly in front of you, just below your chin and to the left if you're left-handed, or to the right if you're right-handed. Many signs look like the words they represent. So for example, this character has up a 5 hand, which actually represents the number 5 in sign language. This is your alphabet finger space. Just in front of you, just to the right or left of your chin, depending on if you're right or left-handed. Relax that elbow and let the hand sign freely. There are 5 basics for signing. We have our hand shape, we have our movement, our palm direction, location, and facial expression. Facial expressions are key to signing. Let's look at our hand shapes, which you can see to the right. You have your V hand, your bent hand, your closed hand, your flat hand, your curved hand, your clawed hand, your cocked hand, your open hand, and your one-hand index and your bent hand. These are all familiar hand shapes that will move, as we segue into movement, move differently to present different words. Your palm direction is where your palm can be facing up. It can be facing down. It can face to the left or to the right. In most of our hand signs that we see here, our hands are facing, the palm is facing away. It would be facing away from you. But you also see those where the palm is facing to the right or to the left. But know that it can also face down. The location is important as well. Look at our character. You can make signs that will be represented from the top of your head down to your waist or from shoulder to shoulder. Make sure that when you're signing, that your facial expressions represent the words that you're signing, that what you're saying is coming across clear. Because if you're happy, you don't want to make a sad face. That does not compute. It's confusing. And if you're sad, you don't want to make a happy face. When asking a WH question, lower your eyebrows because there is more than just the yes or no answer required. WH questions need detailed answers. Your face shows you're looking for it. A question that needs a yes or no answer is asked with your eyebrows high. For example, questions like, do you understand? Are you learning ASL? Do you teach ASL? These are questions that only require a yes or no answer. We will begin this week with the ASL alphabet, and some general school signs. You will learn to sign your name and words with no more than 3 to 4, maybe 5 letters, and 5 only because Q is always associated with you. Just the general, ASL alphabet is the beginning of fingerspelling. Just as in written English, you learn to write your alphabet, you learn to write your name and other words and so on, you will learn the same in ASL. You start off small with learning your ABCs and will build up to 3, 4, maybe 5 fingerspelled words. But first, I would like you to watch videos about fingerspelling rules. This is in Canvas. Practice fingerspelling in the mirror so you can get an idea of what you look like to others and what others may look like to you if they're signing with you. Make a video of yourself fingerspelling in Canvas. You will fingerspell approximately pretty much 20 words from the fingerspell list, and you'll sign all of the words from your vocabulary list. So remember, 20 words from your fingerspell list and all of the signs from your vocabulary list. You'll make a video of yourself signing these. I look forward to seeing them. So let's move on to actually signing our alphabet. As you see the letters come up on the screen, form your hand in the same shape that you see on the screen that's associated with the letter. So this hand shape here is the letter A. B. C. And I am just going to show my face here. Hello, everybody. How are you? All right. So what you see is A, B, C. As you're signing, your hand is always facing the person you're signing to. And now that you know how to sign A, B, and C, you can now sign, you know how to fingerspell your first word. C, A, B. All right, so let's move on. D, E, F. And now we can sign words like B, A, D, and D, A, D, and A, E, D. Just glide to the side for a double letter. F, E, D, and F, A, D, G. Just going to show you what it looks like there. G. This is how you sign G. G. H is similar to G, 2 fingers. I. Now that we have these letters under our belt, we can spell B, E, G, and B, A, G, and G, A, B, and H, A, D, H, I, D, D, I, G, F, I, G, B, I, G, and G, I. Now we'll go on to sign J. Now you see they have that swoop there. And really what they're showing is, it's kind of funny. It looks like they're doing the J backwards. It's not really backwards. It's because you can't really do a 2D picture to represent what's kind of coming out at you. So it's really going this way, that the swoop of that J should be pointing in the opposite direction. J, okay? K, and as you can see on that K almost looks just like a written English K. K. L, the L, although backwards, looks pretty much like the L on what would, it looks like the L on your screen. So now that we have J, K, and L under our belt, we can spell jab. A, B, J, I, G, K, I, D, and K, E, G, and L, E, G, and L, A, G, and L, I, D, and G, I, L, L, slide to the side, B, A, L, L, and J, E, L, L. Now the M looks very much kind of like an M. If you have good imagination, you can see the M there. N is just like the M, except it's 2 fingers. M is 3 fingers over the thumb, pinky out there. N is 2 fingers over the thumb. I'm sorry, I said pinky, but I mean thumb out there. And then we have the O there. Okay. So our new words that we can spell will be M, I, L, L, M, A, D, J, A, M, and M, E, N, and C, A, N, and F, O, G, and N, O, D, P, P. Now I like to show my younger kids, I show P looks like K, except you knock it down. K, Q, similar. This is the letter G. You knock it over, you have Q. G, R, okay? Now, in my opinion, R would have been another handshake if I were creating ASL. I'll show you that a little later. So now you can spell M, O, P, and N, A, P, and P, A, D, and P, I, N, and Q, U, I, L, L, and A, Q, U, A, and R, A, G, and J, A, R, and R-E-D. And one of the rules you'll find, which I probably do terrible at here just because I'm teaching, you're not bouncing all over the place. R-E-D, well, that would definitely give your signer a crook in their neck. You know, it'll blur their vision. They can't see a thing that you're signing. It'll almost look like the delay on this video. S, S. Now make sure you're forming an S with your thumb on the outside of your knuckles, making a fist. This is an A. This is an S. A, S. T. Now we had M, where we had our 3 fingers up there, and we put our fingers down over our thumb, right? And then we had our N with our 2 fingers, and we put it down over our thumb. Now we have our T, which is 1 finger. We put it down over our thumb. That thumb is sticking out. P, U, okay? U. S, T, U. S, A, D, H, A, S, S, O, N, and P, A, S, S, and S, E, L, L, and P, O, T, and T, A, P, and N, O, T, and B, U, S, and H, U, T, B, W. Now it's funny because W and the number 6 actually look the same. So you know the difference in context. X. Now this is that other letter that I would have switched if I were creating ASL. I would have switched R with X. And probably because sometimes when I'm signing, I get a little confused, like, okay, R. No, this is not R, although it looks more like R. But it's R, X. R, X. You can spell words like B, A, N, and W, A, S, and W, A, X, and W, E, B, and B, O, X. Now we're winding down here. Y. Y, if you shake it, it's yellow. Well, yeah, they said I should say twist, but from the right to the left, shape is yellow, and up and down movement is yes. So Y. And the infamous Z is probably the easiest to remember. We can now spell words like B, O, Y, and Y, O, U, and B, U, Z, Z, and Z, A, B. H, E, L, L, O. That's how it would look if you were fingerspelling. But if you, these signs, these words here, have just general signs. Hello. Hey. And usually, hey, you're trying to get someone's attention. Hey. No. No. Remember I said this was yes? So is this. Yes. Death. Death. From the ear to the mouth. Death. Person. Person. Teach. It's almost if you're putting something into someone else's head. Teach. And if you couple teach with person, you have teacher. Learn. Sometimes you'll see people learn or learn. Learn. Learn plus person is student. Student. See hand, class. Class. Book. Book. Because it's a noun. Some people will flash it twice. Book. Read. 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 Sometimes if you're saying reading, we do it like this. Reading. In general, read. Practice. Practice. In this class, you'll need to do a lot of practice to learn your signs. Lesson. Lesson. Homework. Homework. Write it down. Write it down. Write. Write. Paper. Paper. Coming back towards you. Paper. Same hand shape, same location. School. School. Same hand shape, different direction. Nice. Nice. Same sign, you'll know the difference of what is being said in context. Clean. Clean. Fingerspell. Fingerspell. Sign. Sign. Correct. Correct. Wrong. Wrong. Sometimes. Sometimes. Forget. Forget. Understand. Understand. Don't understand. Don't understand. Difference is in the eyes. I get it. No, I know. No, don't know. Don't. Mean, mean. Almost like to say, what do you mean? Mean. What is the meaning? Mean. Again, again. Good. One version of good. Down to the floor. Good. 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 Thank you. Out to the person in whom you're thanking. Thank you. I or me. My. My. You. You. Yours or your. Your. It. She. He. Her. Him. That. Same sign. You'll understand it in context. This or this. That. This or this. All right, guys, make those videos. I want and am looking forward to seeing them. Take care. Have a great week.